Incredible love story. Millionaire so discovers a cleaning lady sleeping on the toilet. Heartwarming encounter changes everything. It was just another rainy evening in St. Louis, with the streets glistening under a veil of water, and the evening air thick with the scent of fresh rain. Jack Westbrook, the sharp-dressed CEO of a leading tech firm, was staring out from his glass tower, feeling the weight of success bear down on him. He was a millionaire, yes, embodying every American dream cliché. But success had come at a price one he was getting too familiar with. Isolation after a grueling day filled with meetings that bled into long hours, he sought a moment as respite. As he pushed open the restroom door, he was taken aback by the sight. Curled up on the floor, a cleaning lady fast asleep, her uniform slightly crumpled and a broom propped against the wall nearby. It was Maria. Her dark, curly hair framed a face that, despite its weariness, had a softness about it. Jack unconsciously shook his head. She was just another cog in his corporate machine. Yet, something about her innocence pulled at him. The pulse of the city outside faded, and for a fleeting moment, he didn't see a cleaning lady. He saw someone like him, just fighting a different battle. Days turned into weeks, and every interaction slowly peeled back layers of judgment and misconception. He learned Maria worked 2 jobs, dedicating her nights to scrubbing floors after long days at a diner. She carried the weight of her family on her shoulders, especially after her mother's untimely death. The sparkle in her eyes remained, a rebel spirit unfazed by the struggles that carved lines on her face. Jack began to admire her, often stealing glances at her perseverance, realizing just how alive she was compared to the sterile walls within his own life. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But the connection cracked when Maria stumbled upon Jack's identity as the big CEO behind the very company she served. Shocked and disheartened, she confronted him, betrayal flickering in her eyes. I thought you saw me for who I am," she whispered, heartbreak thick on her words. Jack's chest tightened. Hadn't he been? He liked her genuinely. But as societal roles loomed larger, their fragile bond felt suddenly uncomfortable, heavy with unspoken judgments. Around the same time, a community rally sparked in the streets, with people fighting for worker rights echoing Maria's struggles. Jack stood amidst the crowd, finally seeing her in a different light, her strength igniting fury in his gut. He could no longer ignore the widening chasm between their worlds. With every voice raised for justice, he felt the dismantling of his own previously cherished beliefs about success and worth. Life had thrown them to the edges of society. Yet there lay an unexpected solidarity beneath the layers of class. The separation had left them both raw, yearning for something more. A question hung heavily in the air. Could their differences be bridged by a shared humanity, or would they remain forever on opposing sides? As Jack braced for a choice that could change the course of both their lives, the echo of hope shimmered in the rain-soaked streets. Jack stood amid the vibrant rally, the chants of the crowd wrapping around him like a vivid tapestry woven from struggles and hopes. Each voice resonated with a shared heartbeat, rattling his carefully constructed walls of privilege. He scanned the crowd, searching for Maria amidst the sea of faces. Her fiery spirit now burned brightly in his memory. This was her world, the one she fought for in every late-night shift and early morning wake-up. A sense of urgency propelled him to take action while the air crackled with energy. The rally was more than just a gathering. It was a movement, a message amplifying the voices of the marginalized. Suddenly, he spotted her at the front, fists raised in solidarity. She was surrounded by friends, her laughter echoing. Yet there was an edge of tension in her smile. Jack's heart sank. Could he step into this world and still hold on to who he was? He felt an undeniable pull towards her, the invisible thread of connection tugging stronger than before. Jack took a tentative step forward, studying her much closer than he'd ever dared. Her determination, her vulnerability. He remembered her words the other day, echoing in his mind like a haunting melody. I thought you saw me for who I am. Staring at the fierce energy radiating from Maria, He was struck by a wave of realization. He needed to redefine the story they were writing. He was tired of playing a part meant for others, tired of pretending to be someone he wasn't. Jack took a deep breath, the taste of rain-soaked earth filling his lungs. It was now or never. With newfound resolve, he pushed through the throng, making his way to her side. As he approached, she turned, her laughter fading into disbelief. Surprise flickered in her eyes, followed by that unmistakable touch of wariness. "Jack?" she said, her voice barely a whisper above the noise of the crowd. "Maria," he replied softly, vulnerability seeping into his voice. "I'm here. I want to help." Her brow knitted in confusion. "Help? Help how? You're not exactly a stranger to the other side of this fight." "I know," he replied, and that admission felt stronger than any suit he'd ever worn. "But I want to understand. I want us to build a bridge, not just between us but for everyone out there." He gestured to the crowd, feeling the weight of each individual, each story, mixing into one collective cry. "What does that even mean for you?" she challenged, skepticism etched across her features. "It means I'm ready to listen, to learn. I've been caught in my own bubble for too long. And I want to change. I want to fight alongside you." Maria held his gaze, searching for sincerity. Jack braced for the judgment that might come next, his heart racing. He could see the gears turning in her mind, processing each word. Time felt suspended between them. The world around faded, the chants dampened into a murmur. Finally, Maria took a step back, releasing a breath she didn't know she was holding. "You don't know what you're asking. This isn't just about you anymore. This is personal. I understand that now, believe me," he said, hope hanging in the air. "I want to share that weight. Together, maybe we can be more than just a CEO and a cleaning lady." Emotion washed over her, and for a brief moment, Jack saw a flicker of something in her eyes, an opening, a possibility. And just like that, the next pivotal step was waiting on the horizon, ready to test their newfound connection. Jack's heart raced as Maria turned back to the crowd, her energy shifting like the wind. He could see the familiar fire sparking in her, but it was tangled with doubt. He realized just how daunting the road ahead could be. What started as a simple desire to change had morphed into something much deeper, a pledge that could either solidify their bond or break it apart entirely. "Okay," Maria shouted, grabbing the attention of those around her. "We are here today to fight for what we deserve. For the right to dream, to be heard, and to exist without fear. Are you with me?" The crowd erupted with a chorus of affirmations, voices blending into a stunning symphony of resolve. Jack felt the power in the air, but it was Maria's spirit that truly electrified him. He watched as she opened herself to the crowd, vulnerable yet fierce, and he knew he had to match that energy. Finding his own voice, he stepped forward. "And I'm here to listen." His words cut through the noise, surprising even himself. As the crowd shifted to him, Maria's eyes widened. An unspoken challenge hung in the space between them. "I might not have lived your pain, but I promise to learn and to fight alongside you." Heads turned, murmurs rippling through the onlookers. Some looked skeptical, others interested. Jack stood firm, feeling the rawness of their stares. He was combining two worlds with a single act of rejection against the luxury he took for granted. "Why would we trust you?" someone shouted from deep in the crowd. "Trust doesn't come easy," he admitted, his voice faltering for just a heartbeat. "But I want to earn it. I want to understand your struggles, not as some outsider, but as someone looking to stand beside you." His heart swelled as he locked eyes with Maria again. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to believe I can change overnight. But let me try." The moment stretched, an emotion so vivid between them, their longing to connect overriding their fears. Maria glanced at the crowd, processing Jack's vulnerability like a fragile thread that could be cut at any moment. "Let us give Jack a chance," she declared, her voice steady yet cautious. "But know this. If he falters, if he betrays the trust we build, I will not stand by." The crowd cheered, some clapped, while others exchanged whispers and hesitations. Jack noted the names on their faces, the hopes, the histories, all resting in the space he wanted to occupy. "Deal," he called out, locking eyes with Maria one more time. He realized this was their first step together, awkward yet monumental. As the rally continued, he swept in beside her, side by side. Together they listened to stories shared, pain unveiled like scars on display. Jack found himself transformed from mere observer to participant, feeling lives and trials shake him to his core. Each story wrapped around him, pulling him deeper into the heart of the movement. Maria's presence offered companionship in this labyrinth of emotion. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting the crowd in a golden hue. Laughter erupted at unexpected moments, but beneath it all lay a tension that hinted things were only just getting started. "Promise me something," Maria whispered during a pause. "Anything," he replied, breathless with hope and trepidation. "Don't lose this fire inside you. Protect it against the doubts and the noise," she urged, leaning closer. Jack nodded, feeling it, an unquenchable flame ignited within him. Together they faced a future stretched before them, a tapestry waiting to be woven from both struggle and love. But as night fell and the crowd began to disperse, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the real test was just around the corner. What challenges awaited them? And would their bridge hold through the storms yet to come? As the crowd started to thin out, Jack could hear the soft murmurs still lingering in the air, echoes of shared stories and unspoken fears. He glanced at Maria, who was lost in thought, her expression a blend of hope and apprehension. "Are you okay?" he asked, stepping closer, concern seeping into his voice. She looked up, her eyes catching the last rays of sunlight. "I am, but this was just the beginning. What we talked about today, it feels important, but it's also terrifying." Jack nodded, understanding her unease. They had taken a collective step into uncharted waters. "What do you think is next?" "Next," she said, taking a deep breath, "we need to start building trust. You with them and me with you. We have to turn those words into action." Jack felt the weight of her statement. "I know. And I want to help, really. But I have no idea where to even start." A small smile appeared on her lips, and for a moment, Jack felt boldness surge through him. "What if we organized another gathering?" he suggested. "Something that not only educates but also empowers people to share their stories on a deeper level. Bring in some local leaders to guide discussions. Make it a safe space for real talk." "That could work," Maria replied, her brow furrowing in thought. "But it means putting myself out there again, opening myself to possible rejection." He reached for her hand, and she instinctively squeezed it. "You're not alone in this. We can do it together. If we fail, then at least we fail together." She chuckled, a genuine sparkle in her eyes. "That's not exactly how I imagine my next big adventure, but I'll take it." With that, they began planning the next steps, discussing themes for the gathering, potential venues, and the community members they'd want to involve. Each idea sparked a flame of excitement, stitching together their desires for change and a deeper connection. In those moments, surrounded by the fading chatter of the crowd and a haze of streetlights flickering on, Jack felt a shift. He knew it wasn't just about the movement, it was about Maria. She was no longer just the fiery leader he admired. She was someone he genuinely cared for. The realization sent tingles through him. But as their plans began to shape, doubts crept in. Could he really hold his place beside her when things got rough? Would the crowd accept him fully? The stakes were high, the risks even higher. Yet he didn't want to retreat. "Maria, I'm from a different world, right? I don't want the noise of privilege to overshadow what we're trying to do," he confessed, uncertainty tainting his voice. "Then don't let it," she replied with conviction. "Be present. Be real. It's the only way we'll connect." Seeing her belief in him felt like a lifeline thrown into a turbulent sea. He wanted to grasp it, to become the man she saw, but uncertainty still lingered in his chest like a weight. Their future felt like a fragile thread that could unravel at any moment. After what seemed like hours of planning, they stepped away from the gathering site, filled with motivation but also the looming question of how they'd be received next time. A challenge loomed, threatening their new bond. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together," Maria reassured him once more. A smile on her lips but determination in her eyes. "What if that thread breaks? What if we can't hold it all together?" he posed, desperately needing to know the possibility of failure. "Then we'll weave it back. We'll mend it even stronger," was her resolute response. As they walked along, the sky darkened, the air thickening with possibilities. Jack felt the gravity of her words yet again. Knowing the future was uncertain but also somehow bright, with every step forward, he sensed that soon they would face those challenges head-on. The real test of their alliance was coming. Would they be as resilient as they needed to be? What new obstacles lay ahead, hidden in the shadows of their hopeful visions? The days blurred together as the date for the gathering drew nearer. Jack and Maria continued to meet, poring over plans, exchanging ideas, and igniting a shared passion that warmed the cooler nights. Each session brought them closer, their laughter echoing in the otherwise quiet spaces they occupied. But with excitement, tension brewed beneath the surface. Jack could feel it. The community's expectations grew heavier with each day. Would they come? Would they open up? The dread of disappointment lingered like a shadow, especially as he prepared to step into Maria's world, one he hadn't fully tasted yet. Maybe we should invite a few people personally, Maria suggested one evening as they sat at a small cafe, their tables strewn with papers and half-finished sketches of posters. A personal invite might push them to open up. Show them we're serious. Jack sipped his coffee, the warmth of the cup bringing a brief sense of comfort. That's a good idea. Who do you have in mind? I've been thinking of Miss Garcia, the teacher who spoke today, she replied, glancing around the bustling cafe. And maybe Marcus, he has been through a lot. I know he'd have something to say. Her eyes sparkled with determination, and in that moment, Jack felt a deep-seated admiration swell within him. You're really something, Maria, he breathed, a hint of a smile forming on his lips. You see people. Her gaze met his, an unexpected depth reflected in her bright eyes. I want to show them they're not alone. It's so easy to feel that way, you know? The conversation turned more serious, and Jack felt the weight of her dreams pressing against his chest. But what if they don't respond? What if this falls flat? He asked, vulnerable now, revealing his doubts. She reached across the table, her fingers brushing his hand. Then we try again. We learn from it. But we won't know unless we try. He nodded, knowing her words were true but feeling the anxiety bubble beneath his surface. As the night wore on, they made a list of other community members to invite, each name sounding like a promise, new hopes woven into their collective ambition. As they wrapped up for the night, Jack felt a surge of tension but also purpose. Can we come up with a theme for the gathering? Something that really captures what we want to achieve. Absolutely. How about voices rising? It's about empowerment, unity, people finding their voices, Maria said, her excitement infectious. Perfect. His heart accelerated, sensing the shift. They were building something beautiful, something that mattered. But still, a nagging fear whispered in his mind. What would happen when they truly opened the floodgates of emotions? Would the community embrace this? The evening grew late and they stood outside the cafe, the cool breeze brushing against their skin. The streetlights cast a soft glow around them, illuminating their faces as they prepared to part ways. Jack, Maria's voice cut through the silence, serious yet vulnerable. If this doesn't work as we hope, I want you to remember we're doing this to make a difference. Not just for accolades or praise. It needs to matter. He understood the gravity of her statement. He hoped to lift her spirit, to reassure her that they wouldn't be alone. Together, he echoed softly. Whatever happens, we stick together. As they exchanged a lingering glance, something unspoken shifted between them. Jack felt the thrill of hope, but also the fear of the unknown intertwining. Could their efforts truly spark the change? As Maria turned to walk away, Jack's heart raced at the thought of the gathering. But lurking behind the anticipation was something else. Was he ready to lay bare his own battles alongside hers? Could his voice stand alongside these many others? Just then, a figure approached from the shadows, a silhouette stepping into the light. Jack squinted to make out the face, his heart pounding with unanticipated tension. Excuse me, the figure called, their tone urgent and sharp. Are you Jack? I need to talk to you. The world around him faded as uncertainty churned within. What could this stranger want? What revelation would they bring into the fragile web of hope they were trying to weave? Jack's heart raced as he studied the figure stepping into the light. The stranger was tall, with disheveled hair and an anxious flicker in their eyes. Jack felt a mix of fear and curiosity washing over him. He had no idea who this person could be, but their urgency was palpable. Yeah, that's me. What's going on? The stranger took a breath, their expression shifting between panic and determination. I heard about what you and Maria are planning the gathering. I think I can help, but you need to listen carefully. Okay, Jack replied cautiously, glancing around. The cafe was mostly empty now, the laughter and chatter replaced by an uneasy silence. Help with what exactly? I'm James, the newcomer said, his voice steadying as he spoke. I used to live here and I know the community. I know what they fear. The stories they carry. If we're going to open up, we need to be ready for some hard truths. Jack nodded, still processing. He didn't know why, but he felt a connection to James's intensity. What kinds of truths? James paused, glancing down the street as if searching for shadows. Deep stuff. Pain, loss, the kind of stuff people don't want to talk about in public. If you think it'll be easy, you're mistaken. Some might not even want to show up. A weight settled on Jack's chest. I get that. But we've got to do something. We can't keep hiding. He glanced back toward the cafe, the glow of the nearly closed sign casting a soft light on their faces. Exactly. But if you want to dive into all that, you need to prepare the space. Not just the invitations and the decorations. You need to set an atmosphere where they feel safe to talk. Less pressure, more understanding. What do you mean? Jack asked. Find a way to loosen people up. Maybe start with something lighter, a fun icebreaker. Show them it's okay to laugh while touching on hard topics. They'll need to feel the freedom to express and support each other. It can't just be a serious gathering. Jack's mind raced as he processed this new angle. He turned towards James, feeling grateful for his input. That's great. I'll talk to Maria. And another thing, James interrupted, his brow furrowing again. Watch out for anyone who seems hesitant. Don't push them too hard. You want them to feel invited, not forced. Jack absorbed the advice. The atmosphere of the gathering loomed larger in his mind, a blend of possibilities and fears. Thanks for the heads up. This changes everything. James nodded, a look of relief creeping onto his face. I just want to see people feel heard. It's important, you know? We all need that. Yeah, I know, Jack replied, the weight of the conversation settling on him. I want to help them find their voices just like Maria does. The two stood in silence, a bond forming over shared purpose and concern. Are you in? Jack asked suddenly. Could you help us? James hesitated only a moment before nodding. I'd be honored. Let us give them a reason to rise together. As they exchanged contact information, Jack felt the tension start to lift. He was not alone in this after all. But lingering alongside this newfound hope was trepidation. What if the gathering went awry? Jack, James said firmly, breaking through his thoughts, this isn't a one-time event. It's about creating a lasting change. Be prepared to follow through. Jack nodded, knowing the road ahead would be longer than just a single night. But he was ready to face it. As they wrapped up their conversation, Jack glanced at the darkening street. He could still picture Maria's earnest eyes and hopeful dreams. They were in this together, whatever this would turn out to be. Just as he turned to leave, James called out, Hey Jack, one last thing. What? Jack faced him again, tension stirring back in his chest. Be honest with yourself and with Maria. Your own voice matters just as much. Jack's breath caught in his throat. How had James seen through to that part of him, the part that feared vulnerability? He felt exposed as he nodded, uncertainty mingling with gratitude. Now, as he stepped away into the cool night, the question echoed. Would he have the courage to lay bare his own struggles among the voices rising around him? Tomorrow loomed, filled with possibilities, but also fears he could no longer ignore. Would he finally find the strength to share his story? Jack woke early the next morning, sunlight streaming through the window and casting soft patterns over the room. The air was thick with anticipation and apprehension as he lay there, staring at the ceiling. He thought about the gathering and all that it entailed. A mix of excitement fluttered in his chest, but it was also shadowed by the weight of his own reluctance. He could already picture Maria bustling around the living room, organizing decorations and planning snacks. She was the embodiment of optimism, always finding a way to uplift those around her. He smiled, thinking about how her spirit had ignited something within him, a desire to dive deeper into these pressing issues. But was he truly ready to step up? Could he be as open and vulnerable as he wanted others to be? He rolled out of bed and made his way to the shower, letting the hot water wash over him. It was time to get in touch with Maria. They had a big day ahead. As he lathered his hair, the nervous energy surged again. What if she sensed his doubts? He dismissed the thought, reminding himself of James's words. Honesty was the key. Jack began drafting a list of icebreaker activities. He jotted down ideas that ranged from light-hearted games to more thoughtful sharing prompts. Would they even work? The thought of standing in front of a group, guiding a discussion, made him shiver. But this wasn't just about him, it was about everyone else too. After breakfast, he picked up his phone and called Maria. Her cheerful voice came through instantly, a bright contrast to his mixed emotions. Jack. Good morning. Are you ready for today? Yeah, sort of. I've been thinking about that gathering. Maybe we could start with something fun like a game to break the ice? A game sounds perfect, she chirped. What did you have in mind? Jack explained his ideas, and Maria's excitement was contagious. She bounced off suggestions, fueling his determination. By the end of the conversation, he felt a glimmer of confidence blooming within him. Later that day, they met at the community center. Maria was already there, setting up everything beautifully. The room was warm and inviting, filled with colorful banners and fairy lights. But Jack's eyes were drawn to the empty circle of chairs in the middle. It felt daunting. What do you think? Maria asked, her hands on her hips surveying their work. It's great, Jack said, forcing a smile. I hope everyone feels comfortable. You know? They will, she assured him. You just have to be open with them. Show them it's okay to be real. As people trickled in, he felt his heart race. Each face brought a wave of familiar vulnerability. Some looked anxious, others hopeful. And then there were those who seemed uncertain, like they might slip out at any moment. Jack swallowed hard. He had to find a way to reach them, to create a bridge between their fears and the support they desperately needed. He glanced around the room, searching for James, hoping that his new ally would arrive soon. With every person who took a seat, Jack's anxiety gave way to purpose. Maybe instead of being perfect, it was enough to just be honest. He was part of this too. He wasn't just the facilitator. He was a member of the community. Maria began the event with her welcoming smile, and Jack felt encouraged to follow. As he stood up to speak, a wave of vulnerability washed over him. What if he messed this up? What if his voice quivered or his ideas flopped? But then he remembered the advice James gave him about being honest, about finding strength in sharing his struggles. The bigger truth started to settle in. Emotions were universal, and if he opened up, it might inspire others to do the same. Hey everyone, he said, his palms sweaty but his heart alive with adrenaline. I'd like to share something personal. Before he could continue, a figure slipped quietly into the back of the room. Jack's heart dropped. It was someone he hadn't expected, a face from his past he had hoped to forget. Would their presence change everything? Jack breathed deeply, wrestling with sudden uncertainty. Would this gathering be what they all hoped for, or would it unravel? Would he find his courage, or would he falter under the watchful eyes of those who knew him too well? Jack paused, the air thickening around him as he locked eyes with the unexpected visitor. It was Sarah, his high school friend, the last person he imagined would show up today. Memories surged, none of them particularly pleasant. They had drifted apart after the fallout of a traumatic event, their friendship shattered like glass. Could he really open up in front of her? He was suddenly back in those hallways, facing whispers and judgment. But today he had chosen to take a different path, one paved with honesty and connection. He reminded himself of Maria's words. He had to be real. Some slight shuffling broke Jack's focus as even more attendees settled in the circle. Panic edged its way back into his thoughts. He didn't want to lose this moment. It was crucial. He cleared his throat, trying to shake off the stabs of anxiety that prickled at his skin. Before I share, I want you all to know that this space is safe, Jack began, voice trembling but gaining strength. We're all here to connect. Life isn't always easy, and that's okay. The big things, they matter just like the little things. He scanned the room, encouraging nods, tentative smiles. Felt good to see it. What would Sarah think? The fear threatened to creep in, but Jack pushed it back. I've spent so long trying to portray a perfect image. But I'm not. None of us are. A murmur of agreement echoed back. Jack took a deep breath, letting vulnerability flood his voice. Last year was tough for me. I struggled with anxiety, with not feeling good enough, and I still do sometimes. He ventured a glance at Sarah, whose expression was unreadable. But I know I'm not alone. The moment was electric, the energy shifting. He continued to speak openly, every word challenging his own fears. People leaned in engrossed. He shared stories, even some he had buried deep. Laughter erupted when he recounted his epic fail at group activities. An unexpected connection formed in the room, something genuine that spread like warmth. Now I want you all to take a minute. Turn to the person next to you and share something, anything, he urged, his heart racing. Could be big or small. Just be real. We're here to lift each other. As the chatter enveloped the room, he felt the shackles of hesitation start to melt away, replaced by this unseen thread binding everyone together. Jack caught Sarah's eye again and dared a small smile. Her lips quirked, almost as if she understood. The moments zipped by, laughter dulled to whispers as he moved among groups, listening to soft exchanges of stories. He was surprised at how eager everyone was. Judgments fled. Authenticity bloomed. But underneath the smiles, Jack still felt the gnaw of anxiety. Sarah hadn't spoken yet, and something in his gut twisted. What if she didn't want to participate? What if she didn't feel safe? Then, as if sensing his concerns, Sarah raised her hand slightly. The crowd quieted, eyes drawn to her. Jack's chest tightened. I am so grateful for this, she started, her voice shaky. I've been holding on to so much for so long. The words hung in the air, a thinner veil between the past and the present. Jack leaned closer, fully intent on her next words. Would she finally share what happened all those years ago? Jack, I need to apologize for something that has haunted me. Her admission seemed to ripple through the room. Jack's pulse quickened. Would her story connect them after all this time? Or would it bring back the heaviness they had both tried to escape? Dread and hope danced in his chest as he waited, hanging on to every word. Would this reshape their history? Or would it unravel everything he had built this day? Sarah's breath caught as she searched the eyes of the crowd, Jack's gaze unwavering. I didn't just lose you that day, she whispered, the emotion thick in her voice. I let our friendship slip away when I should have fought for you. I was scared. And I didn't know how to handle everything that happened. The raw honesty struck Jack like a bolt of lightning. All those memories, the awkward conversations, the silent treatments, the guilt flooded back. He had never quite understood why she had distanced herself. Now, as she seemed to peel back layers of pain, it clicked. I thought you were better off without me, he confessed softly, almost as a whisper. The room hung on their shared grief, the air saturated with understanding. It felt as if time had stopped. The noise of the world outside vanished. Jack saw Sarah swallow hard, battling the emotions threatening to spill over. I didn't socialize with people because I was afraid they would judge me. But instead, I pushed my best friend away when he needed me most. Sarah spoke as if she were unearthing an old wound, and Jack felt every jagged edge. He shifted closer, eager to comfort her. We were both hurting, he managed. I thought if I kept my distance it would ease the pain. A light chuckle broke through Sarah's tears. That's ironic, I senti it? We thought we were protecting each other by hiding. A murmur of empathy came from the group, but Jack was too focused on Sarah. Something sparked inside him, an urgency to bridge the gap that had kept them apart for so long. But we can change that now, he said, his voice steadier. We can rebuild what we lost. Sarah nodded slowly, fresh tears glistening on her cheeks. It's scary. But I want to try. I've missed having you in my life. Jack felt a warmth wrap around his heart. He realized they stood at a crossroads, a chance to redefine their connection, while weeding out the misunderstandings of their past. Just as the thought settled within him, another voice spoke up from the group. It was a man he recognized but couldn't quite place. You're not alone in this. Every head turned to listen. The man continued, I left my best friend behind last year. It's never too late to admit your mistakes. Sudden smiles and nods flared like sparks, igniting shared stories of regret and hope. One after another, voices emerged, revealing fragile confessions and new beginnings. Jack felt the pulse of collective healing. Yet in the moments of revelation he caught Sarah's eye. There was a flicker of something more between them, a hint of glimmering possibility that reconnected them on a level deeper than mere friendship. As the gathering buzzed with authentic sharing, emotions running high, Jack's heart hammered. This wasn't just about mending a broken friendship. It felt like the beginning of something new, something profound. What if we redefined this day? he suggested to Sarah, momentarily forgetting the circle around them. What if we turned the page together? She blinked at him, surprise and warmth melding in her gaze. What did you have in mind? He felt a rush of excitement. Let us do something adventurous. Something that reminds us to live, to show each other we are here. The chatter around them faded, but his focus remained on her, the moment stretching, the anticipation hovering. What came next hung tantalizingly in the air. But just then, a sharp ring of a cell phone broke the tension, and all eyes turned startled. Jack felt the whirlwind of emotions settle back to reality, but he could sense a shift had taken place. Their paths were intertwining again, and the ground was shifting beneath them. As each person's attention turned to the source of the disruption, Jack's heart raced with anticipation. What awaited on the other side of this promise? Would today be the start of a whole new chapter, or merely a momentary escape from the past? The gathering reached an unexpected crescendo of emotion as Jack's heart raced. The revelatory honesty shared among attendees felt almost sacred, wrapping around them like a warm blanket. He couldn't shake the feeling that today could change everything, not just for him, but for everyone in the room, including Sarah. With the chaos caused by the sudden phone ring calming, Jack steadied himself. Let us not forget the purpose of why we're here. Today isn't just about the past. It's about building bridges for the future, he said, voice steady. People nodded, their faces painted with hope. Maria, standing nearby, beamed as she stepped forward. This is just the beginning. Together we can turn these stories into action. The crowd began to murmur in excitement again, the connection tangible in the air. They were starting to believe, and with that, something special ignited among them. I know we all have struggles and that no one knows the weight of another's burden, but we can support each other. Let us be the ones who lift each other up instead of tearing down. Jack added, feeling a surge of courage. I'm committed to being here for each and every one of you. Heads nodded with emphatic agreement, heartfelt connections deepening. Jack turned to Sarah, whose face lit up with gratitude. You just pushed me right out of my comfort zone, she said. Laughter easing the weight of the moment. Good. Together we can face the uncomfortable, he said, allowing himself to lean into this newfound connection with her. Across the room, Maria caught Jack's eye and smiled knowingly, encouraging him to keep going. So he did. He opened the floor to others, urging anyone who felt compelled to share a hint of their lives, interests, or dreams. Slowly, more hands went up. People began to unravel and weave their stories into the tapestry of an evolving community. Each story fortified the gathering's foundation. Moments of laughter interlaced with tears as individuals spoke of dreams they had shelved away and experiences that had shaped them. Walls began to crumble, replaced with vibrant pieces of vulnerability and strength. As the crowd gained momentum, Jack felt the initial fears that walked with him slip away. He had dived into a current that guided him to a place of belonging, a shared mission that was far greater than himself. Maria's unwavering presence fueled him, showing him that together, they could create change. Hours zipped by like minutes, and soon it was time to close the gathering. Jack stood at the front, a new sense of purpose bubbling within him. Thank you all for trusting us, trusting each other. Today we've opened doors to our past and built a path into our future. Let this be the spark that ignites our collective action. Let us not just talk. Let us be the voices that rise. He scanned the room, meeting smiles filled with empathy and encouragement as chairs started shuffling and small clusters began to form. He felt a gentle hand slip into his. Jack turned to find Maria beside him, her eyes radiant. You did it, Jack. You really did, she said softly, her voice a melodic harmony against the fading noise. No, he replied wholeheartedly. This was us. In that moment their bond deepened. The journey ahead, filled with uncertainty, became something they longed to face together. The streets outside beckoned with the promises of what they could build. And stepping into the future, Jack and Maria exchanged a smile fortified with hope. As attendees started to drift away, Jack noticed Sarah lingering. She approached him with a sense of nervousness. I just wanted to say your words today reminded me how important it is to reconnect, she said, her sincerity evident. Thank you for not giving up on our friendship. Jack felt a weight lift from his shoulders. We can rewrite this story together, he said, vulnerability coursing through him. I'm ready when you are. With promise lacing their pact, Jack felt the energy in the room transforming into something tangible. They weren't just participants in a singular event. They were co-creators in a movement. The air shimmered with possibility. As attendees trickled out, Maria gripped Jack's hand more firmly. Together they faced the challenge of the world ahead, their hearts aligned. The doubts once anchored in their fears began to dissipate, replaced by the belief that their efforts meant something important. This gathering wasn't simply a single day in the life. It was the start of a journey, a new chapter filled with connection, struggles, and limitless potential. As Jack and Maria looked toward a horizon painted with hope, they knew that together they would rise. And this was just the first step. The winds of change would echo through their lives, and they were ready to carry the voices of their community forward. Now's your chance. You need to subscribe to the channel immediately, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you to tackle your challenges. Like now to feed the algorithm and keep this movement alive. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending. It means the world to us. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to join this transformative journey. Don't wait not even one more second to share. The time for action is now. Only true fans understand how essential it is to support the channel through these actions.